If you have been trying to use the law of attraction to manifest more money, and maybe you've even been looking at your chart and you understand what you need to be using in your chart to attract wealth, but you have been somehow not getting the results you want, it's probably because you don't understand this aspect I'm about to tell you about, which is the part of fortune, and specifically how to use the part of fortune and understand what house it's in order to attract all the wealth you desire. In this video, I covered what the part of fortune is in your birth chart, the part of fortune through all of the different houses, and how to use the part of fortune in order to attract the wealth you desire. If you feel like you've been unable to manifest money, or you're doing everything right but you're getting no results, this video is for you. Welcome back to the Be the Hero channel. I'm Isabelle, and I help you understand yourself so you can feel more clarity and control over your life. Now, before I dive into today's video talking about a highly underrated aspect in our chart, make sure you hit the link in the description below to book a reading with me where in 1 hour we dive deep into your birth chart as well as your unique personality combination and how this affects your life so you can get the things you want. And if you're watching this video, I'm guessing that thing you want is more money, so you can book in the link in the description below. So today I want to talk about the part of fortune and specifically what it means to have your part of fortune in a specific house, because I've started a series and have not finished a series on the part of fortune through the signs, and along the way I have got quite a few comments of people asking what it means to have it in a certain house, and on top of it I do mention in those videos how important it is to know the house it's in. And so if you know about the part of fortune and you understand the sign it's in, but you feel like you're not gaining the wealth that you're wanting from it, it's probably because you're misunderstanding what it means to have that part of fortune sign in a specific house in your chart. Or if you have been wanting to make money and you don't even know what the heck I'm talking about, knowing your part of fortune and what house it's in is going to be huge for you. So really quick, what is the part of fortune? The part of fortune is an aspect that is mathematically calculated based off of using your sun, moon, and rising. It's sun plus moon minus rising degrees, or sun plus rising minus moon degrees, depending on whether you have a day or night chart. You have a day chart if your sun sign is in the 7th through 12th house, and you have a night chart if your sun is from in the 1st through 7th house, because it is on the top of the horizon or the bottom. Simple enough. The point is, though, your part of fortune is this mathematical aspect in your chart, this point in your chart that indicates where you can find wealth. In my interpretation, by embracing your part of fortune, you become a magnetic attractor for fortune and money specifically. A lot of people talk about the second house when it comes to money, but in my opinion, the second house is more so how we manage our money and how we view our self-worth, whereas the part of fortune is how we can actually attract that wealth in to be financial, material, dollars in our bank account. And it is necessary in not only our ability to attract money, but in our career as well. I think the part of fortune plays a huge role in our career, and it has for me. So in this video, I want to go through a quick overview of each of the houses that, what it means to have the part of fortune in each house. But do note that you still need to understand the sign it's in as well, because the part of fortune sign is how we need to be. For example, I'm an Aries. I have a lot of Gemini energy and Taurus energy, but my part of fortune is in Virgo, which means that in my career and when it comes to making money and attracting wealth, I need to be like a Virgo. I need to be practical, detail-oriented, focused on acts of service. And if you don't really feel like you have an understanding of each of these zodiac signs in the first place, then if you hit the link in the description below, you can get my astrology bundle where I have the simple guide to astrology, zodiac signs, and houses, where I break down each of the zodiac signs in their most intricate and yet simplistic form, as well as the houses, so you can understand when you're going to apply your part of fortune, not only the sign you need to embrace in its actuality, but what house it means. So the sign is the energy. The houses in astrology are the areas of our life. There are 12 houses in our birth chart, and they represent the 12 different areas of our life, such as your one-on-one relationships, your career, or maybe your community, or your unconscious mind. These are the 12 areas of our material life, of us being human beings. And so if you're using the part of fortune in application to career, it may not be in your 10th house, but this can show you what kind of work you need to do. So in my example, I went for so long trying to be practical and selfless in probably the wrong areas of life. But then when I understood what house my part of fortune was in, and I started being more Virgo-like in that area of my life, money started flowing in. And I'll get to that in a little when I get to the house it's in for me. But if, for example, you have a first house part of fortune, you have a lot of wealth to attract by simply embodying whatever zodiac sign your part of fortune is in. So if you have a first house part of fortune, look to the sign and truly understand what it means to show up as that sign. This is a lot for you about the mental work. Attracting wealth for you is going to be a lot about how you're vibrationally being in the world in a day-to-day moment or in a moment-to-moment basis. While some people may need to focus more on channeling certain energies into their career or with their relationships, this is about how you view yourself and how others view you. With this in mind, in this example, my brother, Danny, has a part of fortune in his first house, but it's not in his rising sign. And so his rising sign is Virgo, which means people naturally see him as humble, down to earth, practical, methodical, which is all very true. People always see Danny this way. They just see him as like a quirky guy, kind of just in his own world, super down to earth. But his part of fortune is in his first house in Libra. And let me tell you, he started being working as a server about a year ago. Yeah, about a year ago, exactly. And he has built so much of a Libra persona in his work. So instead of being practical and quiet and humble like a Virgo, he's learned to be charismatic, charming, making it so everyone feels welcome, understood, and heard. He's really built up this Libra persona in his work. And so he has made incredible money in what he does. So this is one huge example of having your first house in Libra. While it is in his career, not only has he been more Libra in his work environment, but just throughout his life, he's built this sense of, okay, I know what it feels like to basically be a Libra without knowing it. I've built my ability to see from others' perspective. I know how to be likable. I know how to be diplomatic. I know how to be charming. So if you have a first house part of fortune, it's a lot about embodying a persona. And do keep in mind with this journey that this is not going to be the central of your life. While you will change your persona, make sure it doesn't dominate you. You do still have other areas of your chart. And if those go unrecognized, that will lead to a detriment because we want to be balanced human beings. But tapping into your part of fortune in first house does mean cultivating a certain kind of persona based off of what house it's in or sign it's in. If you have a second house part of fortune, you really do need to be managing your money better potentially, or other people's money, in order to make more money. So with the part of fortune in the second house, it's kind of in a way like it's in its home sign. However, I feel like this requires, for you manifesting money, it means more restrictiveness. So for some people, manifesting money and wealth, attracting money in, is going to be more so about the vibrational side for them. And for other people, they're going to have to feel more sense of control. For example, for me, I do not have a second house part of fortune, but I do notice that actually being able to look at my finances and see how much I'm making, being able to manage my money brings me a deep level of satisfaction that makes me want to bring more money in. And I think starting managing my finances and having tracking how much I spend and make has been huge for my income. And so if you have a second house part of fortune, I highly recommend that you have some sort of bookkeeping or budgeting that you do yourself, something that you can actually see, because to you, money is very material. And it's very likely that you need to be able to see those zeros in your bank account, or even possibly in the extreme, hold physical paper cash. Having this sense of material wealth is going to be important to you, because the second house is all about material security. It's our wealth and our worth. And so for you, you probably find a sense of wealth by having tangible things. You may even want to have, more assets, so to say, like having cars as a material asset to feel wealthy, or houses, not even for the sense that you want them, but that's how you hold your wealth best. Having it in things that you cannot see is going to make you feel more contractive. So based off of the sign your second house part of fortune is in, is going to tell you how you like to manage finances. For example, if you had a part of fortune in Scorpio in second house, you're going to be very impulsive with your money. And so you're going to need to be able to constantly moving your money. Money comes in and I spend intensely. It comes in and I spend intensely. Things have to be in action for you. But if you have a part of fortune maybe in Virgo in your second house, you're going to want to be really meticulous with your books, having every single penny tracked, and that's going to help you feel more abundant. And if this does not resonate, it's possible that you need to manage other people's finances or their self-worth, because the second house is not just material wealth, it is worth. And so if you're doing something related to boosting other people's self-worth based off of the sign it's in, that's what you'll need to embrace in order to help people do that. That is another way you can bring in material growth and use the part of fortune to attract wealth. If your part of fortune is in your third house, you need to talk and learn and network in order to gain money. Let's say in the extreme, your part of fortune is in Gemini and in third house. You need to be the social networker, putting on networking events, going to these, keeping tabs on people you've met, asking them how their mom's doing. Your networking skills and your communication skills will take you far. For anyone who has a part of fortune in third house, learning, communicating, networking is all going to be the spotlight for you, because the third house is the house of our daily communication. It highlights our ability to remember people you see in your day-to-day life and cultivate neutral connections. So words or connections that are often associated with the third house is your neighbors, your siblings, your barber, the grocery store clerk. Those are the kind of connections we're talking about when we think about the third house. So if you have a third house part of fortune, it's very likely that you will find wealth in these connections, whether it's selling to them or through referral. Having a presence in your community, so to say, that is neutral, is going to be huge. And whatever sign that's in is going to show you how you need to be with those people. And on top of it, not only it's how you should be with those people, but how you should verbally communicate. If you have a third house part of fortune Aries, you need to be very assertive in your communication style, probably speaking very intensely and telling people this is what you need to do. But if it's not, if you have something different, you're going to have a different approach to these connections and to your communication style. Mindfulness is probably really important for those with a part of fortune in third house, because it has to do with not only what you're saying, but what you're processing. It's mindfulness at its finest is often what I say. So those who have a third house north node have a lot to do with communication. And so the similar could be said for part of fortune in third house. If you have a part of fortune in fourth house, you have everything to do with families, your own family and other families. And my mom is a great example of this. One of our coaches here at Be the Hero, she has not only her part of fortune in Scorpio, which is great for her, but her moon and her north node. And my camera is falling. If you have other planets in the same sign and house, it doesn't have to be the same house though, but that's extra. It's gonna give you more indication into what needs to be embraced. So for example, if your Mars is with your part of fortune, you're gonna need to be really active and masculine and doing things all the time. very much Manipura solar plexus chakra energy. If you have Venus, though, on the other hand, in the same sign as your part of fortune, you're going to need to be much more receptive. That's what I was talking about earlier, this idea of to attract wealth, there is a balance for everyone of attracting and receiving, but also taking action. And for certain placements, based off of if you have other planets here, what sign it's in, what house it's in, this is all going to indicate what that balance of receive and attract and take action is going to be for you. So if you have a part of fortune in your 4th house, like my mom, dealing with families and working on your own family is going to be huge for yours. So my mom has her part of fortune in Scorpio in her 4th house, which Scorpio 4th house energy means you want to be able to be very close and emotionally connected to your family. You may have deep emotional roots and wounds you may need to heal. Scorpio is all about diving deep, and so investigating said wounds in the family. These could, all be important factors. But if you have, and for her, she quite literally not only does work healing and helping families here at Be the Hero with Gabby, but she also is working on a family team. We have a close emotional connection. We're living close by, which on top of it impacts that. And we're working together as a family to help families. Quite literally, I think the best example of part of fortune 4th house energy. So connecting with your family, connecting with other families, healing families, dealing with matters of the home are all going to be huge themes for you for attracting wealth. So you may be helping people with their home, especially if it's an earth sign. If you have it in Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, you may be doing stuff more directly home related. But maybe if it's in an air or fire or water, you're dealing with the feeling of home in the end, helping people with their home, dealing with matters related to family and the past and letting go of baggage, especially if it's in Scorpio. And if it's in, I'm realizing this is becoming a long video, so we're going to go faster. If you have a part of fortune in 5th house, you have work to do with creativity. Gabby has her Pisces part of fortune in the 5th house, which really puts an accentuation on there needing to be a sense of creative inspiration and play involved in the work she is doing. So if you have a part of fortune in 5th house, there is a focus on you feeling creative and inspired and playful in what you do. If your part of fortune is in the 6th house, you need to have a daily routine and a sense of service in order to attract wealth. For you, you might need to be taking care of your health better, or just having more of a schedule, or having just an active service job more so. You can find wealth through by doing these practical services that are daily. If your part of fortune's in 7th house, like my dad, he is to find wealth in his relationships. And this could be from the attracting sense. If you have a part of fortune in 7th house, it's very likely that you can find wealth just through your marriage, through your partner, or just by nurturing your one-on-one connections. So for example, my dad has his 7th house in Aries, part of fortune. And for him, the more he can step into an assertive leadership role in his relationship, the more he can attract wealth, because he's in his masculine energy, not only in his career, but in his relationships, or vice versa, not just in his relationships, but in turn his career. So one-on-one connections is huge for the part of fortune in 7th house. You have to be connecting one-on-one with people, which is quite literally what he does. It's all one-on-one clients. If you're a part of fortunes in 8th house, you are definitely doing something related to deep inner work with others or yourself. Going through your own shadows and healing your own shadows is going to be huge. The 7th house does also have to do with sexuality, and I have heard of quite a few people actually who do something related to that, sexual healing, energy workers, that type of thing. If they have a part of fortune in 7th house, but it's just one way to look at it. It could also be that you are dealing with intimate couples, helping them heal any emotional wounds. The 8th house has a lot to do with just the things that beneath the surface. We are dealing with deep emotional traumas, deep emotional wounds, shadow work, our ego, all these deep parts of our inner being, our non-material sense of self, as what the part of fortune 8th house deals with. And doing this work yourself can help you a lot. If your part of fortune's in 9th house, like me, you need to be working with foreigners in the simple sense, or dealing with philosophies. So two examples of how I do this, because I have two jobs. I have, as I said, a part of fortune in Virgo. And so that means I have to be practical, detail-oriented, selfless in my career, informative as well. But I also started another side gig about a year ago, doing Instagram management for businesses all over the world. So I deal with people in California and people in Utah, etc. And this has brought me massive income because I'm offering a practical, detail-oriented service as a Virgo to people all around the world, as the 9th house, the house of travel, foreigners, and philosophy, deals with. On top of it, I try to teach to all of you, wonderful subscribers and newcomers, astrology in simplified, practical ways that are applicable. So another example of how that combo works together. But if you have a 9th house part of fortune, you are dealing with either faraway places, dealing with travelers, dealing with foreign people. So maybe it's travel itineraries, maybe it's not even dealing with that. Maybe it's philosophy. You know, the 9th house is also religion and philosophy. So talking about philosophical concepts, teaching other people these things, social studies, so to say. This could be another approach to that as well. If you have a part of fortune in 10th house, you're finding wealth in your appearance, in your career. So look at what your 10th house sign part of fortune is in, and that is the persona you need to be embracing in your career in order to attract wealth. And you very much need to have a sense of career rather than a job. So you need to probably be in a place of authority. If your part of fortune is in 11th house if your part of fortune is in your 11th house, then you need to be working with community or humanitarian causes. These are the people who are trying to change the world or work in companies. Feeling like they're making a big impact is going to be huge for your own manifestation. And finally, if your part of fortune is in your 12th house, you need to be working on your own. I think I actually just recently worked with a client whose part of fortune was in her 12th house. And for her, she was basically saying, oh, well, because of my North Node, I want to be like more social and out there. But like, I don't want to do that for my career. I'd rather work on my own. And her part of fortune was in her 12th house. And it was in Gemini, I was pretty sure. So it was a while ago, so I'm trying to remember. But for her, it was all about, for her to attract wealth, she needed to be in isolation. And so whatever sign your 12th house is in will kind of show you what you need to be doing for yourself in that solitude. If it's in Gemini, you need to be learning. If it's in Cancer, you need to be nurturing yourself. These are all just examples, but the part of fortune in 12th house does need to truly be alone in order to attract wealth. And on top of it, you may need to delve into very subconscious fears. So I know I speeded up that summary towards the end, but let me know what your part of fortune combination is in the comments below. What sign is it in? What house is it in? And I will see if I can get around to responding. If you want to dive deeper though into how you can use the part of fortune and the rest of your chart to manifest wealth and understand yourself, then hit the link below to book a reading where we dive deep into your chart and use it not just in application into your life, but also to understand yourself, understand your past, and get the things you want. So if you're feeling like you cannot manifest money, if you just want to understand yourself better, if you're considering changing careers, if you want to just know if there's something you're missing, these readings are for you. So book in the link in the description below. And while you're down there, be sure to join Be the Hero, our free group membership where we have more resources and go live every single day to help you be the hero of your best life. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Sincerely hope you enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos breaking down who you are and the stars. Once again, my name is Isabelle, and from my heart to yours, namaste.